Ariel Policano, warmly welcoming everyone today. This is a time for you to ask your questions. So you can put your question down into the question box. Also, the vessel harmonizing program, the long-awaited program, is ready. It is on a very special discount for the next few days. So if you want to get it, here is the link, and I will be sending that out today as well. So one more time, the vessel harmonizing program is ready. You may want to use it in conjunction with the nerve assessment program, and we're going to show that today with a demonstration, a very special demonstration with a wonderful volunteer. I don't think Kendra is here, but she'll be able to watch the recording, and we won't disclose any of her father's personal details, but he is in his early 80s, and he has had a vessel event, let's call it that. You know, he has basically a stroke, and he is so motivated to get better, you guys. And Kendra, here's the nerve assessment link. Kendra has so well explained what this session is, what this kind of technology can do, that I want to play you his recording of his voice, and we'll do it together in real time. Now, I have forwarded it past the personal details, and then we'll take his picture, and we are not disclosing any of his birth details. So this is really, really cool, and you can listen in his voice about how motivated he is to get ready. So I've already entered his voice, pardon me, I've already entered his birth details. Hang on one second. Because we don't disclose those. And we're going to, let's just do his voice recording because my voice is cracking myself here. So we'll go ahead and we'll play this now. Hang on just 1 second. Actually, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to coordinate all of this. Let me just pull the microphone out for 1 second so I can do this a little bit better. I'm just going to change the microphone. It's going to sound a little... Okay, you guys, hopefully you can hear me. We're just going to go by the computer microphone for a second, and then I'll change it back, and that'll let me better coordinate this. Okay, here we go.
Want perfect recovery from my recent 3 surgeries, and I would like the blood to flow properly after my aneurysm surgery. 14, 15,
Okay, he did it perfectly and according to time and everything. So hopefully you guys got that. I'm just going to change the microphone back, and I could just hear in his voice how motivated he was to get better, which is really exciting. All right, so let me just switch this back for you guys here, and we're going to get to his picture in just 1 second. So what we can do for people who are not in real time is we can always have them send us a voice clip, and that's what she did. She recorded his voice, and then from there we have his picture. If I can just find it among the many things I have here. We'll get that in 1 second. So that is a way that you can work with people long distance. And you should be able to work with people anywhere in the world. Okay, let's see if I can actually coordinate this. So we're going to analyze his voice, that was a perfectly good recording, a recent voice. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know if you got any of that. So a recent recording of the voice, so sorry about that. So we've been recording his voice, and I don't know if you guys even heard the voice because of all of the changes in the microphone, so I do apologize. But we got his awesome recording of his voice, and we're going to just grab his picture now. So let's take his picture. We're going to grab that right there. And lovely man he is. And now we can analyze this picture. So you should be able to work with people anywhere in the world at any time. And that's what we really need right now. We need a small, loving army of people who are ready to work with other people who are in distress. We couldn't possibly expect the entire medical field to handle all of the people who need help today. So we need you to be doing this amazing work. Okay, so we're going to go into the vessel harmonizing program, and this should be really, really fun. We'll do a quick check-in, and thanks for letting me know. I assume that you guys were saying the voice. You did hear him. Oh, you are Suzanne Blessings. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. So, and Christopher, will get to your question. Okay, so what we do now is we do a quick overview of the client that we're working with. We've got our brain EEG. We've got our neurotransmitters. So right there, you guys, and you do get 2 training videos with the new program, so it will give you some tips about doing these types of sessions. I'd like you to have as much support as you need. And when you're looking at this, he had a stroke, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is it's very likely that his brain, right, is not functioning because of the loss of electrical activity. And that is why both the nerves and the vessels working together can be very, very helpful for him. All right, so and welcome everyone. Welcome our dear Annette, our longtime Annette follower. Kelly is here. Karen up in Canada with her crew is here. Mary Lee, welcome. Sherry, welcome to you. Sophie, what a treat having you here live with us. Dennis, thank you so much for being here. Bamboo is here, and we're so thankful that she's joining us from Hawaii this morning. Jackie is here. Jane, welcome, Jeff. I have not forgotten about you, and I will be in touch with you very soon. Oh, it has just been busy here. Okay, so let's just go to neurotransmitters because I'm curious about what comes up. Remember, if you have my mastery guide, you can get it online, the e-version, for just $27, or I can send you a hard copy and the electronic version for $47. We ship that free shipping anywhere in US and Canada, small fee for other places around the world. So serotonin is a little bit out of balance. Epinephrine, this has to do with the adrenals, and norepinephrine. See, now a pointer for today, you guys, is I'm really working on my boundaries, going from 600 and above to about 150 to 200 and below. And I have no hesitation for including those items in my main hold tray. The reason for that is I can always work this out in Progressive Insights, and I have more information. All of biofeedback is about information, giving information to consciousness, both in the biofeedback subconscious world and in the conscious cognitive world. So we've got that, and we can test our brain EEG. This one is a bit more difficult to grasp, and this does tell us theta. You can see theta come up, and all of these are in my mastery guide, but you can see theta come up when people have addictions, or they have a subconscious conflict. In other words, they say they're not going to eat the sugar, but then they find themselves in the kitchen at night eating the sugar. So there's something beneath the surface that may self-sabotage. There's something that's not totally in agreement with them doing the positive change that they want to do. And I don't know too much about Kendra's father's history, so I'm just sort of winging it here with what I see. Now, high beta is significant because this is probably what most of us are at, because this is the conscious mind focusing on everyday activities, real high mental focus. This is the opposite of being a high meditator when you're in high alpha, and that's not really coming up for him here. So this is good to calm and soothe the mind. And then we have low gamma. I'm not going to get into that right now, but look, gamma is basically something you see. It is probably very much related to higher vibrational thinking. We know that Tibetan monks, when they meditate for long periods of time, they get bursts of the gamma wave. Let's go now to the vessel harmonizing program and bring those items in here. So I'm going to go specifically now and add just the vessel. You get all 13 of these testing libraries with that program and the guide and the training. And then we also will go to the nerve assessment program. Okay, so let's add those. Then we go back and back again, and we go to the libraries, and now this is where all of the fun starts. I can't imagine as a naturopath not using biofeedback because it just makes things so much more fun. We can really find out so many things in a short period of time that we really, really need to know. So this vessel types is interesting because the vessels are the arteries, the veins. Those are the big major vessels. Arteries bring blood away from the heart, and veins return the blood to the heart. You see, the heart exchanges blood, is always sending blood to our lungs where it's picking up oxygen, and then it's sending that oxygenated blood around the body. Eventually, blood becomes deoxygenated, and it needs to be picked up by the venous system. Both of these systems need to work well, but we tend to have more of the issues with the endothelium, with the lining of the vessels in the arteries. So that's what we're seeing with heart disease. So this says, where is the issue in the vessels? And it tells us that, in fact, well, we sort of have we're actually right now having some issues with the venules and the veins in terms of capillary type. We're going to come back to this in a moment. I want to do a little bit more checking. It also says there's vessel health in the capillaries, and this is very, very important. There is a lack of vessel health in the capillaries. The capillaries are exquisitely responsive to frequency. They don't have a muscular system of their own. We use the Beamer mat, which has a sublime frequency that helps to invigorate the capillaries, but we can also use the Genius for that. So it's telling us that the endothelial lining of the capillaries is not working as well as it could, and it's telling us that the capillaries, the very smallest vessels, are probably borderline not working well. We're still in the exploratory phase, so let me now go into the arteries of the brain, which is what we want to look at here. So we want to do the head and neck arteries because that is related to the stroke. Now, don't let this major sort of screening test right here be the only guide to what you test. Yes, it's true that these things came up, but I am going to look at what I really want to look at, which is head and neck, and then I'm going to get into the major arteries and so forth, because he had a stroke. So I want to look at that. And it tells us, sorry, I need to go back here. It tells us the sternocleidomastoid branch. That is around the neck. Let me see if I can get a couple of images up here for you to look at. Okay, these are included in the program, and just trying to see if they're even shown here. Okay, so let's just include the sternocleidomastoid branch for a moment. And the circle of Willis is really interesting. That is collateral circulation in the brain that actually saves a lot of people's lives. And I'm going to see if I can switch the view here for a moment. And let's just go to the main screen and go to this preview. Okay, perfect. So the sternocleidomastoid branch is going to be in here, and then we can't really see it, but the circle of Willis is up in here, and it actually helps you to keep, if any of these vessels on the left or the right side are blocked, you can actually send the blood from the left to the right side of the brain. We're not seeing it here, but the circle of Willis is one that goes from left to right and connects left to right. So that's a very, very important one to begin to open up. I'll just read the rest of them here. The carotid sinus is also going to be in this neck area. You can see because of his stroke, it's very important to open up these vessels in this area because any impairment in these vessels could have caused the breakdown of blood flow into the brain. We also see that the central retinal, I'm just reading them here, I know you can't see them right now, the central retinal, and so that has to do with his eyes. So we're also, if there's been any loss of circulation to the head, then that could also be affecting the vision. We're going to go down now to the lower ones. I just want to see the infrahyoid branch is also going to be in this general area. We've got a lot of issues in this neck area that we need to open up. The acromial branch, the meningeal artery, and the superior laryngeal artery, the posterior meningeal artery. I mean, it's quite amazing that we're able to get this insight to all of these things, but I can tell you for sure that these are all located in this general area here as far as the head and neck arteries. Let's just switch the view back again just so you can look at what I was looking at and go back to here. So this is what I was looking at with the posterior meningeal, the superior laryngeal, the meningeal artery, the acromial branch, the infrahyoid. They're all in the same general place. And when you see this, you guys, it gives you a level of confidence that what you're seeing is correct because they're all related. Now, why there was so much vessel damage or vessel blockage in this one area, it could have been because the nerves or the musculature or something caused a loss of flow in this area, and it became the place of least resistance. So when you have damage in any particular area, the body always goes to, even a virus can start to live in a place which is the area of least resistance. So if there was a postural issue to begin with, this could start the process of even the vessel damage. So stretching and yoga and all of these things are very, very important. I'd like to go now to the major vessels because I just want to get an overall view of what's going on here. And I go through this in the protocols about what to look at. So let's look at the major arteries and see what we've got here. And Kendra's joined us, or she's just joining us. Kendra, when you pop in the room there, I'll mention you again, but we are working with your father. So we've got the descending aorta, the external carotid artery. This is another one in the neck. The perineal artery, I believe that's down in the leg, and I do talk about this peripheral leg issue, that the circulation of the extremities is very, very important. Welcome, Kendra. We are working with your father right now and finding out some really good information. Thyrocervical trunk, again in this area, we see a major focus of this neck area. Very, very important to open up that flow. We want to include all of these. And then it's going to be very interesting to see what comes to the top when we get into progressive insights. Your progressive insights is where all of the magic happens because it's going to inform you, out of all of the things that you're looking at, what is the most important to this person's energy. And it tells you, if you unwind that particular block, you may in fact help to affect everything else that is blocked. And so that's the magic of progressive insights, which is putting that focus on the very highest level of priority. And when we open the flow in that particular area, then it helps the flow everywhere else. So there are these sort of linchpins of cases in particular areas, and if we can just know what they are, then we can have great results. But a lot of times when we're just out there, even as practitioners, that's what we're trying to get at through our questions, through what we're asking our client. And this gives us so much more of an insight as to what is going on. So a lot of these visuals are included with the program. Let me just read a few more and then we'll get into the popliteal artery, right? That's going to be down in the lower part. And again, people with problems with circulation, it's going to be this peripheral blockage that we see first. So wounds don't heal as fast as they used to. Spider veins, varicose veins, nail fungus, just signs that something is going on in the skin, especially of the legs and the feet, that wasn't going on before. The internal carotid, these are extremely important to open up flow when a person has had a stroke. Now, You guys, I'm not making any claims that this is going to 100% heal or cure anybody, but my feeling is from my experience that this is the way to go. This is the way to go with the energy. We're learning a tremendous amount of information that we may have never been able to discover through previous imaging. I mean, there's always ultrasounds of the heart and Dopplers and different things that we can do, but this is so non-invasive, it's so immediate, and it brings it into your home with your family, something that you can do for them. You don't need a $100,000 degree that I had to do for going to medical school, or any professional has to basically go through. This is something that's available to you right now, which is amazing. The common hepatic artery tells us that's the flow of energy to the liver, which is interesting. And possibly by opening up that flow and opening up that vessel, we allow detoxification to improve. We've got the right common carotid. These carotids are all in the neck, you guys. I'm going to show you an image in a minute. We have got to make these carotids better in any number of ways, through opening up the flow, perhaps through lifestyle changes. That is going to help him to survive in the long run. Internal iliac artery, this is down in the leg, sort of abdomen to leg area. Ascending aorta, one of the most important vessels, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. The splenic artery, this is going to open up flow to the digestive system. You guys, there's a link down below if you're interested in this vessel program. It's finally ready. So you can look down in the chat area, and that link is now down there. I'm going to add it down here as well. So here's the link if you're interested in the vessel program. We can get that to you this morning. So I want to switch the view, and I want to look at this. Here we go. So some of the things that came up for him were vessels right here. Do you think this might have something to do with the blood flow to the brain? Do you think that harmonizing and opening up this flow could be significant? So we saw the thyrocervical trunk, and the common carotids were coming up for him. And here is that ascending aorta, one of the first vessels to move the blood around the body. Very, very important that we harmonize that. We can see that splenic artery, the left gastric artery, abdominal. This is very important. This is where people can have an aneurysm, abdominal aneurysm. So we want to know if this is an issue for them. This is a wonderful preventive check. The renal artery, etc. You guys, the number one thing just in terms of lifestyle, in addition to running energy, is that these folks who are at risk for these particular types of things, or you're seeing it energetically, is to get them off of meat, get them off of dairy, or meat and dairy become just a tiny, tiny condiment to their dish. Okay, so if they've got to have it, it's 2 ounces, or it's a very small amount, and we must stop taking the free oils, the olive oil, the coconut oil, the flax oil, and so forth. These oils have been shown to damage the endothelium, particularly the unsaturated ones, because of their tendency to rancidify. So this is wonderful that we've gathered up 30 items in our tray, but we're not done yet. We have a few more things to do, and these are in the protocols that I've described in the program. We want to know what are the emotions that are up for him. So what are some of the emotions that he's reaching for? And I've put these, I think, in the positive here. These are some of the biggies that come up for people around the heart. I am lovable. I am open to love, and I am worthy. I know there's only a few, but these are really the heavy hitters, you guys, around the heart. I am courageous. I am free from the illusion of fear. I am open to love. I am worthy. I am worthy, and I am lovable, and I forgive are probably the 3 biggest ones. So we need to get those emotions in there. Some interesting energetic considerations that include the recognition that the heart is really a series of vortices around the world. Around the world, yes, around the world, around the heart, as above, so below, around the body. So these vessels really is not just a pump, There are vortices or vortexes, for easier understanding, all around the body that help to move the blood. So when you are in love, very likely your vessel system is moving very well. That opens up the vortices around the body. When you meditate, when you're in that state, right, of grace for, whatever reason it might be, practice of spiritual practice or loving your children or loving your spouse. Structured cellular water will help to improve the energetic flow in the body. Clearing calcifications, this is important. So there may be some calcifications. This dietary change is very important. Alignment with spirit, repairing the vessels, perfect vasodilation, and we're going to go all the way up to 200 here, diminishing the free radicals. This one is not a bad one to include. We want to include healthy DNA, and these are all explained in the program, okay? So then we want to include some solutions, which is vessel health number 9, which is right here. What are some, we want to actually test this. What are some physical solutions? What are the best physical solutions for him? And I always look at the top and I look at the bottom. Okay. Interesting that not a lot of the heavy-duty supplements like hawthorn didn't come up for him. Even arginine is a bit on the weak side, but ginger. So there's a lack of flow. There's a stagnation, and that stagnation is probably originates in the digestive system. So this ginger will probably improve the digestion and improve the circulation through the vessels. We've also got garlic. We know that's great for vaso or vessel dilation and good for any underlying infection. Selenium is immensely good for the heart. L-arginine, barley grass, enhancing vessel health. This is just an energy. And even the CoQ10 doesn't come up high for him, which is just really interesting. Lemon juice, again, it tells us about that there's probably a digestive connection here going on with this whole circulation issue. So lemon juice is kind of clearing calcifications and helping to alkalize. We saw that barley grass come up for him, and the carnosine. So you can get this complete vessel program. The link is down in the chat box, and it is on a special for the next couple of days, and you do get the full program and training videos for this. What is really exciting to me is what we will learn when we get to Progressive Insights. So I want to now just include a couple more custom libraries here, and you can see how much testing I do. I want to include the leg vessels because we did see some leg vessels come up in the major arteries, so we want to include these. Not as many as I thought. Let's see what's down here. The femoral canal and a couple of other ones in the leg. Okay, that's fine. Maybe we covered them in the major arteries. And I want to also include the nerve assessment, which is a separate testing library. You can get both of them together if you want to. And I wanted to see if there's anything important we want to know, because this is providing flow into those areas. So I'm going to look up and I'm going to look down. The axillary nerve in the shoulder. This guy would probably benefit from a really good massage if he was open to it. Maybe chiropractic or acupuncture, something that would open up that area of the neck. It seems very, very important. These are related to vision, the oculomotor nerve, the facial nerve. We're seeing a lot of cranial nerves, and so we may not be getting the vessel flow to those nerves. These are all in the face, the buccal nerve, the cervical ganglia being in the neck. So which came first, chicken or the egg? Loss of flow in the nerve, loss of flow in the vessel. These are all totally related, which is why we do them together. All right, so let's include an ethmoidal nerve. Again, that is in the brain. Frontal nerve, brain. So this is all very interesting given the history that he's had. Okay, now we're ready to go to the Progressive Insights. And you guys, we get to Progressive Insights through the bottom right, this button right here. We tap on it, and this is where all the magic happens, because this is going to take all of those items which were deemed to be important in the first part of the program And now when we begin our analysis, we see what are the major items of importance that we really need to know about for this gentleman. What do we need to focus our energetic, what do we need to put into the energetic balance that's most important? And what do we need to know cognitively that might give us a clue of what we could do most to help him? Because all of this is, you can read books and encyclopedic volumes of information about what would be good for the heart or what would be good for the brain. But unless it's focused for that particular person, it's not meaningful. The whole goal of biofeedback is telling us what has the most probability of being meaningful to this energy field right now. So this is a nerve, ciliary ganglion, in that neck area. The acromial branch, this is shoulder. Internal carotid, this is the ones that we're concerned about when somebody has a stroke. Selenium, one of the most important nutrients for the heart and the vessels, interestingly enough. Not a lot of people realize that. The perineal artery down in the leg, this high beta, so the mind is very, very busy. Internal iliac, it's good to go out for a walk or get back in touch with the rhythms of the earth, and sitting outside even could be good. The buccal nerve, this is in the again in the brain, right, in the above the neck basically. Common hepatic artery, probably digestion, zygomatic nerve, vessel repair. External carotid artery, there are the carotids, and I am lovable being one of the most important emotional pieces that we need to know. Now, a new addition to things that we've been talking about, I'm going to get to your questions in just a moment. If you have a remedy plate and the person is there in person, or if you're working on yourself, you will do these short runs where you are running the energy into the plate for 3 minutes, and the plate will have on it a tincture bottle or their water bottle, and you're going to, probably water bottle isn't a good, we want, or maybe a small cup, because we want to actually discard this after they drink it. They're going to drink a small sip or 10 drops after the cycle is over. And you're going to let them rest for 30 seconds to 1 minute. You can have them watch the water harmonizing program or just sit and rest, whatever you like to do for your client to relax. Then we're going to retest, and I just did this a minute so I can show you. So we've been creating a remedy now for the patient or the client for 1 minute. Then we have the person also, as they've been receiving the frequencies, we have them drink the water that has been impressed with the frequencies. Then we will go back and we will add one other thing. So something we didn't test before, something we feel intuitively is important to add. The Bach flower essences are always really, really good because they give that wonderful frequency to the client. And also they will tell us something important that we need to know. So let's just include a few of these. We bring these down, the rock water, the mimulus. Kelly being our expert here, if we see any of these come to the top, she can give us a sort of a good insight perhaps. And these are also in the mastery guide. They're all defined for you. So we do that, and then imagine that this would be a minute, that not 1 minute, we're just doing this would be 3 minutes when you're doing this. So we did get the Serato. Kelly, if you're there, maybe give us a good insight as to Serato. You can also look in my mastery guide. I am worthy comes to the top, the low gamma, the buccal nerve, theta, lots of brain stuff coming up, brain waves. And again, we would look at these. We want to get our cognitive, perfect dilation, diminish the free radicals, the internal carotids, the internal iliac, the posterior meningeal, again, there's that selenium. And interestingly, more things are coming up of high priority, which seems to be very important. It's like we're hitting more of the high notes, or we're hitting home runs, or we're just getting more things that want to be included here. So it's interesting, sort of the vessels, there's that right common carotid, still very important, so that those neck vessels are just of the utmost importance to keep focusing on. So now we're going to play another minute. We impress these frequencies into the remedy plate with the tincture bottle on there with some distilled water. And what we do before this is we actually discard the previous water, and we use some new distilled water and impress the frequencies again. It can have a really profound effect on the person that you're working with. So what is the emotional meaning then, Kelly, of the Serato? Do you have an emotional check there? If you do, let me know. If not, somebody can grab the mastery guide and we can look at that. Okay. William, if you're volunteering, go ahead and send me your date of birth. That's totally fine. If you do not check the items in progressive insight, does it just balance the highs and lows ones? Oh yeah, so let me explain that. Okay, if you're busy and there's just too much going on, you can't do this. What you can do is you can actually select all of these. So when you select all, it goes all the way into the medium and the low items. There's no problem in doing this because it will spend 3 times as much time. When you press the button like this, it goes through a cycle. And what it does is it focuses on the high items first. For if it was music, we would say 3 counts. Then it focuses on the medium items for 2 counts. Then it focuses on the items all the way in the low priority area for 1 count. Especially if I'm doing a lot of items in here, I like to do this high focus because it allows me just to exclusively focus on the high items, but there's no downside to really doing it the other way. So now let's add in something more. So we could add in the meridians. We want to continue to sort of, well, just out of curiosity, let's add these electrical sensitivities. We want to continue to add some things that will bring more information into the progressive insights. Metallic implants, the wireless frequencies, computer monitors. Okay, let's just do that. I just want to then retest. So we're only doing 1-minute increments, so if we're going to have some aha moments, I don't know, but we do see those carotid arteries continue to be asking for harmonizing. So those, I think, are very, very important in terms of the blood flow to the brain. So interesting to see those real chronic issues are going to stay up in that high priority at asking for attention, asking for harmonizing. Okay, so the ascending aorta, barley grass, the alkalizing would be very, very important. It would help everything to work better. Healthy DNA, which we may not have included because it was up in the 200s, does come up as high priority, and that makes sense. The frontal nerve, brain, EEG, L-arginine. It's interesting that L-arginine now comes to the top, and this is why we like to do these layers. It's my feeling that as you begin to drill this down, you guys, you get better results by the time you're in the 3rd and the 4th time you're doing this. You're getting the real picture. It's sort of like this. If you've been running around your entire day and you come to see the doctor, it takes you a while to really wind down and get your focus and your clarity and really be present. I think that's part of what's happening here. We're getting that energy field, we're focusing. First, we're just sort of taking off the superficial, maybe the stressors of the day, what the person is thinking about. That's the first 3 minutes. Then the second 3 minutes. By the time we're drilling down into the 3rd session of 3 minutes, the 4th, the 5th, we're really getting to the deep. We're getting I think, the most accurate information at this point. So one thing I really had thought about for him, and I was thinking it was interesting we hadn't seen it come up, is that L-arginine. Go and do your research on L-arginine. Some of it is included in the balancing program where you can read a little bit about it, but L-arginine is sort of a miracle for opening up the flow of blocked vessels. So that could be a very important supplement for him. We don't make any strict recommendations because unless you're a doctor or a nutritionist, you always say, this is interesting, this is coming up for him. Why don't you go read about arginine and see if this is something that resonates or feels healthy for you? If you work with a health practitioner, then please go to your health practitioner and ask if the L-arginine, if it would be okay if you started using it. So we want to stay on the safe side of things. All right, so a couple of things. Let's see. Now we've got here, Kendra's here, liposomal glutathione. Sure, that's a good one. Okay, so do you have, all right, let's just keep going here. Massage is exactly what I was thinking, even just massaging the neck with a muscle relaxant oil like juniper to help the blood flow. Ooh, that's a good one. I like it. Sophie, that's a good one. And well, let's see if we have anything. Serato is lack of trust in one's own decision. Kendra, let's see if we can get you on the microphone. So if you're there, just sort of get centered for a moment, and let's see if we can talk to you for a second about, I know that you were a little bit late. That's absolutely fine. And we just want to see if any of this sort of makes sense for him. Hi, Kendra, are you there? Kendra, if you talk now into the, are you there? Okay, are you there? Are you there? Your microphone is open. Can you hear me? Nope. Okay. So anyway, he does take lots of CoQ10, which is really, you could see that didn't come through as a high or low item for him. That makes a lot of sense because CoQ10 would have been the most natural for him. Do not know how to turn on the mic. Okay, it just didn't work. That's okay. So everybody is sending their Serato, lack of trust in one's own decisions, so on and so forth. Okay, very, very good. Dennis says, select all seems to be more effective than it used to be. You know, everybody has their own relationship with the genius. I like to do these singular selections. That works for me. Ultimately, you guys, this is your own decision. This is, you know, the power is in your hands, which is an amazing thing. I mean, the power is not really even in doctors' hands. Like, they're as a medical doctor, they have to all follow the directions. When it's this, give this drug. But the power is in your hands. If you like and prefer the select all and you get better results, that's your relationship to the particular technology. There's no right or wrong. I really like this because in my experience, it's always been about getting to the bottom of the issue. What's going on? What is the core of the particular issue? What's really important here? And this helps me to formulate that. Okay, so the Vessel program is now available. It's down in the question box and in the chat box, or you can just go into my website, awakentotalhealth.com, and type in the word Vessel, and you'll see it come up very easily. Yes, I've not had a chance to bundle these two together, so sorry, we may just be losing the voice here. Okay, there we go. Hey, you guys, sorry about that. We might be, sorry, my voice is being cut off. So sorry about that. But go to my website, awakentotalhealth.com, put in Vessel, or you have the link. And yes, I will bundle the nerves and the heart together for a discount. I just have not had a chance to do it yet. So very, very good. And let's see if we can test him quickly. And I do think that this was very, very important, Kendra, that we looked at this, because we did see those carotids. The carotids are the vessels that flow up to the brain. And so to clear them is very, very important. And I do think that that L-arginine will be an important supplement. Of course, that's for you and him to figure out together. Let me just see if I can get this, switch this. You can really see this better. I sometimes forget that everyone doesn't have the same medical degree that I do, and I just assume everybody knows where the carotids are. But I do try to explain everything in as simple and you know, respectful, understanding, intelligent terms. But this is really nice because you can see the left internal carotid. The ones that came up with him specifically is just the external carotid and the internal carotid. I didn't indicate left and right in the panels, but you can see that both of these on either side are important for the blood flow. So it's interesting that these come up high for him. It really does say where our work needs to be. And then inside, we did see that circle of Willis. I'm really going to see if I can just find, it's one of nature's most amazing things, the circle of Willis. It's part of our collateral circulation in the body. And it's because if either one of the arteries on the left or right side of the neck completely closes up, is completely calcified or plaqued or shuts down for whatever reason, there's a complete blockage, we can actually keep the person alive by moving the blood from the left side of the brain to the right side of the brain through the circle of Willis. And so, you know, the body is just an amazing thing. The more that you learn about it, the more not only there is to learn, but the more fascinating it is that it could be so detailed and so amazing. I'm just trying to see if I can get any type of a good picture here. So let's see. All right, I'm not really getting the best picture. Let me just see if I can do it really quickly and just show you guys if I can do Chrome here. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I just want to show you guys here that little circle in the middle is actually the circle of Willis, and I'm going to show it again here. So here it is, so you can see it in the brain. So basically your flow from the body flows up on either side of the body to the brain, left carotid, right carotid. So if one completely gets blocked up, you could have a serious issue. And so there's this backup emergency system called the Circle of Willis, named after the first person who discovered it, and it helps this collateral circulation move from one side of the brain to the other. It's not as effective, it's much slower, but it's better, you know, slower versus not at all. So this is the Circle of Willis sort of shown here, zooming in. So that's what that is all about, and that came up for him as important. So we want to definitely open the flow in that particular area. Very, very important. But what a view you're able to get that you were never able to get before. I mean, I would, you know, I just love it it just helps me to formulate my thinking in a more intelligent way, that both of these are important, and the L-arginine is important to open up that flow of energy. Both running the frequency, as we are here, and perhaps giving it in an actual supplement form could be very, very helpful. Sorry about that. So let's go into our next case. As usual, we may not be able to get the audio for him. I'm not going to assume that we are. Let's just get quickly to some of your comments here. He just had an ultrasound, and I think this was okay. That's good. It's probably improving, Kendra, but remember that biofeedback gets energetically into the area in a way that physical imaging will never get to. Now, this is an important consideration. She said that he just had an ultrasound, which they typically do the ultrasound on those neck arteries, and they say that there is flow through it. But is it optimal flow? The biofeedback seems to say it's not optimal flow. Does that mean that he is getting better and today he can live in a way that's healthy where he won't have an incident? Yes, but would we like to improve that? Yes, and this is probably telling us that we could improve this. So it's really important to balance your findings with logic and common sense, you guys. Don't think that you have some type of chronic, irreparable issue. It's only energy, you guys, but it can be very, very informative. It can help us in a number of ways. Okay. All right. So she says he's getting arginine and walnuts. Okay. We are so blessed not to be, Sherry says, we are so blessed not to be restricted to the dynamics of the medical model. Our energetic system is not considered, I think, by medical doctors. Yeah, and thank goodness you guys actually have, sorry, here we go. You guys actually have a lot more freedom than doctors do by not having a license, interestingly enough. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't do, but you actually have a lot more freedom that way, which is interesting and ironic. But I think this has been always meant to be the way that it is, that if you could just get enough education and your hands on the right technology, I believe the natural way is that people are helping themselves with things that they can do each and every day. And that's why I believe in this so much, and that's why I support it so much. Let's go back to the beginning here. You're not going to see the genius for a second. So this is a good time if you guys have any other questions that you want to ask. This is a good time for that. We'll just switch the view here while we get William's information in there. If you want to volunteer, you can come back next week. You can even send me your information in advance if you want me to work on your case. And it's really great to have people I can work with so that I can record some of the cases. So if you volunteer, we don't share your personal information, but we just like today, we didn't share his personal information, but we did share like the voice recording. Anyway, things that are non-identifying, I think you understand that. Okay, so we're going to get William's information in here, and then we'll see if we can talk to him. If not, we'll just move forward because we do only have a few minutes here. You guys, this is a good time for any questions that you have. So just jump in there with your questions, and I would be happy to answer them. We still have the Biofeedback Practitioner Program going on, and I am creating some new exciting programs coming down the road very, very soon for you. So I have lots and lots coming on the horizon to share with you, and I'm really excited to do that. Okay, we're almost done here, so any of your questions now, it's a good time to ask. It's funny, my question box just popped out of view. All right, so yeah, so Bamboo says I'd like to volunteer. Definitely come back next week, and we would love to work on your case. Send me your information in advance so that we can do that and have everything prepared. So we're going to get this on here. Today we've been working with the vessels of the body and really discovering some interesting things in the vessel program, helping to open up the flow. The one adjunct thing I do use is the beamer mat. It's something I use for myself, and I do recommend for people because it is so effective at opening up flow and resuscitating those capillaries which have not been active. And I know several of you on here have the beamer mat and have also had success with it. All right, let's see if we can talk to William and find out anything that we need to know. If not, we'll just wing it and we'll move forward with what we've got. Always just working with what we've got is sufficient. So we'll unmute him here. If he can unmute himself, William, we can talk to you. If not, we may not be able to do that. Maybe you can just write in the chat box what is going on there. Oh, there you are, William. Hi. Let's record your voice. Let's record your voice really quickly. I'm going to count you down. I'll start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
A-E-I-O-U. 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 My name is Will Russell. That's Will Russell. Will Russell.
Okay, perfect. William, what's going on?
Well, I've been laid up with a broken leg for going on 10 months now, and maybe a little more. And
oh my goodness, wait, you've been laid up for 10 months with a broken leg? That seems like a very long time. I'm so sorry to hear that, first of all. But that's very long. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I am walking now, but the first 3 months I had no weight on it, and then it's a very, very gradual process. X-rays show there's still a pretty significant amount of healing needs to be done in the bone. And so,
all right. Well, okay, William, we only have a couple of minutes left. Let me go ahead and do some work here, and we'll see what we see, okay? Sorry, William, your audio is sort of cutting out a little bit, but let's add the program to his profile. So let's add those. My goodness, that must have been something pretty big time to be laid up for that amount of time. And I'm very sorry to hear that. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So if there was an injury, then using the vessels and the nerves makes a whole lot of sense for that person. We're going to run a few minutes over, and we did start a few minutes past the hour. So we're just going to run a few minutes over. If you guys want to hang in, great. If you need to go, I totally understand. let's just give William some time here and see what we see. All right, so let's get moving and grooving. I didn't see a lot out in the front of the program, which is interesting, but we can always do more testing. Is there any way to hear this better? Well, we're definitely hearing distorted speech, but you shouldn't be hearing my voice distorted unless it's your personal connection. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but let's do the major vessels. First, let's just see what comes up here. The artery assessment, head and neck arteries. Interesting. Okay, let's just do the major arteries for a minute and just get a global view of what's going on here. Now these are defined, you can see them in the visuals for the program. The descending aorta, the femoral artery, which is fascinating because of that leg-ish injury. Carotid, the common carotid, the external common carotid. Now very interesting to see that similarity that we saw with our first client, the aortic arch, the left coronary artery. Now it's possible that these are coming up because he's not been as physically active. And so this is immensely important to promote this flow however we can. Biofeedback, the ultimate in biofeedback is a marriage between the cognitive information that you get informing us there are things we need to do in the physical reality. If we can, it sounds like he's not moving around that much, but if he can get into a pool or whatever he can do to get his body moving is important. Left common carotid. So definitely, I do think this is very important, like the arginine might be really important here. Let's see what comes up. But we've got a pretty good picture here that there is some impairment in that neck area. It's very common as we age, but we want to do something about it. Subclavian, this is all neck, shoulder, digestion. Dorsalis pedis, this is down in that leg. The profunda femoris artery, down in the leg. Subclavian is up in that neck, and we're getting up into the higher numbers here. But so very interesting. So he's got that leg stuff that we need to look at, but he's also got this neck stuff that we need to take a look at as well. Let's look at some of the solutions that are coming up for him and see if there's anything important here. Vitamin C, interesting. Carnosine, this is for the mitochondria, and it's an anti-aging supplement. Now here's the CoQ10. So just to point out the difference, I don't know how much CoQ10 you're taking, Will. Maybe you can let us know. But it's interesting because Kendra has her father on a lot of CoQ10, and we did not see it come up even in the 600s. It was down in the 500s, and when you see that, it says he's taking enough. He's taking enough, so that's really, really good. Enhancing the vessel health, that could be through exercise or through supplementation. Magnesium citrate, this could be something very, very good. Now this is interesting. The magnesium applied in the magnesium oil, which is what this is magnesium citrate that you take, but I think the magnesium oil in a soak for his feet could be really, really good for him given the need for the heart, and the bone heals better with magnesium. Garlic for opening up the vessels. Taurine is an extremely important one for the nervous system and the heart. Ginger, again, that digestive connection. Hawthorn berry this time. Now look, I'm going all the way up to 200. So do not hesitate to use 200 because it's all going to be worked out when you get to progressive insights. And if it's not a high priority, it's going to go down to the bottom. Now let's look at those head and neck arteries because that's what was coming up big time for him in the major arteries. The two patterns we saw were arteries in the head and neck and also arteries down in the leg, which again makes a lot of sense. So we have some other arteries that are up here above the neck, as we say, and all of those sternocleidomastoid, occipital, these are all in the neck and the brain. Tympanic branch, that's hearing related. All right, these are all more neck, shoulder, brain, interesting. Okay, so let's do the nerve assessment, then we're going to need to wrap up, and let's see what we see here. Get your final comments here. All right, so all right. Sorry, I'm just getting to your comments here. Just 1 or 2 CoQ10 caps per day. Maybe you need more, William, or maybe it's not the right kind. You could look into the PQQ. My leg was broken in a bike accident, which may have also created whiplash, which Also maybe why those arteries don't have proper flow, but we definitely want to open those up. Facial nerve, that's up in the head. Lingual nerve, this doesn't make a lot of sense for men, but we want to include it anyway. Maybe reproductive plexus, and maybe reproductive correlate in men. We have to understand this is energy, you guys. What energy is resonating with frequency. So this could be the male counterpart. The lateral pectoral nerve, this is shoulder. Tibial nerve, this is down in the leg. Abdominal aortic plexus, very, very important one for people who are age, who are maybe over 40, let's say. Long thoracic nerve, splenic plexus, this is digestive, this is in the shoulder, this is in the leg. So very, very interesting, these ones that are coming up for him. Really related to his past injury, shoulder. Looks like shoulder is part of it too. Vestibulocochlear nerve. I see a hearing theme here. I'm wondering if there's been any change in hearing at all. Cervical, hepatic, this is digestive. Mandibular is in, yeah. Okay, so there, I think that there is some impaired flow to the head and neck. Vagus nerve is digestive, so that will really help with digestion. And there's still some signs of stuff going on in the leg and the digestive system as well. So we don't have too much time to do a further analysis. We could pick this up. In fact, if William wants to send me a live voice clip, we can look at this between now and then and come back and talk about it a bit, as well as do a live rundown next week. But let's go now to progressive insights so that we can sort of wrap this up. Let's see what comes up here. Wow, garlic and ginger, two really important remedies for him to look into. The meningeal artery, I believe that's up in the brain. The external carotids, the sublingual, all of that above the neck. Very important to open up the flow there. Very, very important. Superior gluteal nerve, that's down in the leg. Hepatic plexus, digestion. Magnesium citrate. This could be coming up specifically because the bowels need to move better, but that does seem to be an important form of magnesium as opposed to all the other forms of magnesium that we tested there, like the magnesium oil, or I still think magnesium oil could be good, things like magnesium taurate and so forth. So that vagus nerve came up big too. So I'm sure the shoulder must have been affected in that accident as well. We do see a lot of shoulder stuff. So very, very important, you guys. We want to be informed as to what the vessel health is and the nerve health is in our clients. This is probably an important tool for that. If you have any questions that I have not answered today, you can send them to me, Ariel@awakentotalhealth.com. I love getting your emails and helping you to understand the genius better. What I'm going to do after this is I'm going to upload it to the YouTube channel, and you can find the YouTube channel simply by putting my name into YouTube. We are here to support the community using the genius to help you to work better. We have a number of Facebook pages that you can join to talk about cases. We're here not just for you to get the genius, but in the long term for you to use it in a really clever and effective way. I want to wish everyone a wonderful day and wish you lots of abundance, prosperity, and good health, everyone. I will see you real soon. Take care, be well, bye-bye for now, and thanks again for taking the time to be here. Take care, bye-bye.